Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Hello, traders. It's Matt and Jace with Empire Algorithmic Trading, here to bring you your weekly roundup of VWAP Vision Stock Talk Weekly Review.
It's where the volume weighted average price helps us make sense of the market, Matt. It's time for a little weekly review of Stock Talk. Let's go.
Bring it on, buddy. Well, happy weekend, Jace. Hopefully, down there in the southeast, you aren't worrying too much about a big old tropical storm coming across the ocean right at you. But how you been?
It's hot, and the storm. Aaron's supposed to veer and just go right up north and stay away from the coast. So we're doing okay. But the storm behind it that's forming, that's the one that I'm going to be paying attention to. So we got a little bit of time before that one has the potential. So we'll see how it goes. But all in all, doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Cannot complain, sir. It is winding down towards the end of summer. School's getting back in session for all the kiddos around here, so can't complain. Trying to soak in the
Uh,
last vestiges of summer before everything goes crazy.
that sounds I remember those days, and those were always kind of fun. That transition from summer to school season into fall is always one of my favorite times of year. And we've got a really nice transition going on in the market this week, which is pretty good. So we transitioned from red zone to green zone.
Whew.
I think that was on Wednesday. That's good. It hasn't done much since then. It's actually kind of pulled back a little bit. Friday was a down day across the board. The S&P 500 actually somewhat, when you zoom in, a kind of a bearish engulfing candle there. So it'll be interesting to see if that leads to anything. Nasdaq Composite down 0.4%, couple days below its VWAP. The small caps, again, no follow through for back-to-back days after their really nice breakout. And then same
Yeah.
thing with the mid caps, kind of falling right
No.
back into their bases. So a little disappointing look overall as far as the new green zone goes. But that's all part of the transition, part of the rotation. It's interesting because fundamentally, like when you look at the economy, you're thinking, how on earth is the market going to go any higher, right? Well, there's a lot of betting going on. Basically, if it wasn't for AI, the market would really be struggling right now. And one could even argue if it wasn't for AI investments, just in general, the economy would be struggling in general. So there's the market's really interesting because every day millions of people get paid, and that portion of their paychecks ends up in the stock market. And so there's that constant buying pressure. So there's kind of it's not like old school days where there was a lot of actively managed funds. Everything is pretty much indexed and it's all automatic. Millions and millions of people have these funds that are target dates, and they just fundamentally just keep buying stocks. And so there's this continuous upward pressure. You've got the possible economy, this pushing the downward pressure, and you have really what's going to happen with interest rates. And so with bonds, just kind of trading in a range, that's actually a good thing. That's good for equities. So as long as we live above the VWAP, bonds are okay. We do have a big speech from Jerome Powell at Jackson Hole this week, and I remember specifically a speech he had in 2023 tanked a rally. It was a nice strong rally going. You're thinking, all right, maybe the bear market's over. He said, nope, we're just going to keep raising interest rates, and the market took a dump for another couple of months until it eventually did bottom. I believe it was October of that year. And so, it's always nerve-wracking when Powell is talking at Jackson Hole. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. But all in all, it was kind of a week of transition. We're at all-time highs, kind of across the board, with the S&P and the Nasdaq particularly. But the leadership is starting to wane a little bit from these, and leaders were really starting to pop up in the smalls and the mids. However, that buying just wasn't sustained. So it's coming back. We want to see as the buyers really come in this week, and Fed and Jerome Powell could be the catalyst for that.
All right. Well, it's wonderful to see. How about the VIX? How's the VIX indicator doing?
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. It's indicating a little less than 1% of a daily move, which is about average, right? This is a good range to be. It means everybody's kind of chill. The fear index isn't high, so yeah, looking pretty good.
Well, I'm excited to see what happens on Wednesday, and that is it for our weekly wrap up of what went on in the market and the general markets this week. Next, we're going to talk about some of the big movers throughout the week. All of these movers can come directly to your inbox if you would like to subscribe over at Patreon. Patreon.com/Empire Algorithmic Trading gives you access to our algorithmic daily buy and sell signals. And every single one of these charts we're going to take a look at was either sent as a buy or sell. Sometime previously before this. You can also get access to some educational videos, our arrow review each and every day, where we talk about the moves that we see coming down the pipeline to be prepared for, and also how Jace and I use these signals in our own trading strategies. So patreon.com/Empire Algorithmic Trading. But Jace, who's up, who's down, where'd they go? Tell me about it.
We're going to take like an overview, overlook. So I want to talk about basically where we're at with the market. Now I personally, especially with this video, get so used to looking at breakouts, and so I get so caught up on what are breakouts doing, what are the leading stocks doing, and you're seeing a little bit of a rotation coming out of the stocks that were doing really good in the April rally. GE Vernova, for example, is kind of breaking down. Symbotic, when you look down here, is kind of breaking down as well. Centrus Energy is already broke down. Vistra is kind of breaking down a little bit. Silicon in Motion, Roblox, they're all starting to Palantir, Shopify, kind of the list goes on. Credo, Vertiv, Microsoft, they're all kind of living below CCJ. They're all kind of living below their VWAP. They're all kind of consolidating a little bit, but they aren't completely collapsing. They aren't falling apart. They're just consolidating. So that's what you would expect. These stocks went on really big runs, and now they're starting to hold those gains and kind of travel below the VWAP and basically build new bases, right? So that's stage one. Stage two are the stocks that broke out either during the red zone or just towards the end of the previous green zone, and those are continuing to run. There's a nice small contingent of those that are really proving some leadership, like Reddit, Core Mining, CDE. You have Bloom Energy is continuing to run. AppLovin is looking pretty good. Ryanair is continuing to roll. Meta is holding on to its big strong gap. Arista Networks is still above its 10-day moving average. FEIM is just continuing to roll. And then you have a lot of biotechs. XERS, Xeris Pharmaceuticals. MIRM, Mirum Pharmaceuticals. ComSpace Holdings, a nice little consolidation, early red zone breakout, and it took off as well. Wriggle Pharmaceuticals, that thing is just exploding. So a lot of biotechs are just going nuts. Next stage is you have the recent breakouts, the stocks that are just starting to break out, and you're starting to see some follow through in those. HSAI, a breakout from last week. It actually held up well, and I bought into it, and then it opened up and rallied strong, up 9% on Friday. Apple, recent red zone breakout as well. You're seeing this kind of play out across the board with the mega caps as well. So Apple's recently trying to break out. EVLV, another recent breakout of ours, it's following through nicely. Spotify broke out last week, followed through nicely with a 4.9% gain on Friday. Tempest AI, another 3% follow through from Friday. Affirm, this one broke out, tested hard, tried to shake out, held up, and then I took a new position in it, and it rallied up 2.2% on Friday. You have Paymentus, another breakout, another early breakout that's following through nicely. I actually took some initial profits on Friday as well at 37.49. I'm in originally at 35.70 on that buy signal. Tiger, this one just broke out on Friday. This is an interesting pattern. We talked about it during Arrow review. I'm not a big fan of the up and then how it comes back really, but I started reading up on its financials, and it's a very impressive looking stock. So I'm kind of changing my mind on that. I'm gonna have to figure out how I want to manage the risk on this one, but this is a really nice looking potential breakout. DraftKings is setting up very nicely. Dave, another previous leader. This is stage three. The previous leaders that broke out, rallied up strong, and they're starting to build new bases. So when these stocks that are just starting to break out start settling up, kind of like we're seeing with Microsoft and VRT, these guys are going to really start breaking out, right? So you have Dave we're keeping an eye on for it's building a base after a massive run. Netflix is actually coming to life. It's actually flashing a potential buy signal on Monday. Rocket Lab, it's setting up well. You have Webull. This one is setting up right beneath its VWAP there. CalMaine is setting up well Zeta Global Holdings is setting up well. So you have quite a few as well. Rubrik, which was a nice solid mover back in April and May, setting up very strongly along the VWAP there. Good looking there. And then Tesla, lastly, mega cap Tesla. It's trying to break out, pulling back a little bit, but most likely, if the market continues to move higher, Tesla will be a participant in that. And so you have a clear rotation of the old leaders, money coming out of there. You have the transition ones from the end of the red zone to the end of the green zone into the red zone that are continuing to move higher. And then you have the new breakouts, and then you have a whole slew of stocks setting up right behind those new breakouts. So all in all, when you take an overall picture, it's a pretty good looking market, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
So it raises the confidence when you're looking at just the breakouts though, and you're seeing chart after chart after chart where these things are starting to break down a little bit. It kind of skews the view a little bit, and you're going, man, this whole market's about ready to roll over. What I need to do is take a step back, and I started looking at a lot of charts and a lot of different setups, and I'm seeing some potential for a next leg higher. So just builds the confidence, and it allows me to just follow my rules. I know if I just maintain my composure and my discipline and just follow the setups, let the market be my guide, I'm going to do better than the market. You just got to follow along. Don't try to guess. Just let the market tell you what to do, and then you just ride that wave. And right now, we're right at the beginning of a green zone, so we're right in between. Like if you look at the S&P. Technically, it's one day under its red zone, under its new anchor, I should say. Same thing with the Nasdaq. Nasdaq has basically one day. This one we could call it probably below, but we're just going to call it one. The smalls and the mids both have two. So we do want to see some buyers come in early this week, just to avoid that volatility. But the VIX was so low, you would almost expect that. You're going to expect buyers to come in here mainly because America's still getting paid, right? The job market is starting to show some cracks. And if you would have taken out a lot of some certain sectors, there would have been some pretty significant losses in the job market. But you can't just cherry pick job numbers, right? You have to take the whole. So as long as the labor market maintains, everybody's still going to be getting paid. Everybody's still depositing money into their 401ks, and so there's just that natural money flow into those passive funds that are just going to continue to push markets higher. It's just when the labor market breaks, then that whole passive income flow is going to break on top of it. So that could be the thing that breaks the bubble. But if that's what it is, then we've got bigger things to worry about than the S&P correcting 20 or 30%. So all in all, very exciting time. I'm excited for the week. I hope Jerome Powell, if he, you can almost see a big rally going if he confirms rate cuts. If he says, hey, now is the time, kind of the opposite of what he did in August of 2023. He's going to go, yeah, we're prepared, but they're in a tough spot. I mean, the hard data is showing inflation is hot. The PPI was hot on Friday, I think it was. Friday or Thursday, and then the CPI, even though the market rallied, it was rallying off of rate cut hopes, but the CPI was still a little hot. So inflation's still there, and growth is starting to come down. So you have that specter of stagflation out there. So there's definitely some headwinds, but the market climbs a wall of worry. You just let the institutions tip their hand, just follow what the whole market is doing, and you're going to turn out okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know a lot of people are praying for rate cuts, so we'll see what happens there. But
yeah, it's how do you, because you do have to protect the labor market. That's their dual mandate, right? Protect the labor market, inflation. And so if what do you do if you're the Fed? They're in a pickle. And I don't envy any of those people at all right now.
Same here. Well, that is it for us for our weekly review here on VWAP Vision Stock Talk. Thank you so much for listening on Spotify or watching here on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe, and then rate and review us as well. Help us bump up there in those ratings, get more eyes on this. You can also follow us on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, X, anywhere that you digest your market information, we are. So make sure to find us there. Again, Empire Algorithmic Trading, you can find us on all those socials. If you want to know more about who we are and what we do, check check out our website, VWAPvision.com. That's VWAP Vision.com. And you can kind of see how and why we came up with this algorithm that keeps sending us these daily buy and sell signals. If you want access to those signals, you just have to subscribe over on Patreon. Patreon.com/Empire Algorithmic Trading. And you can find those signals. You can find Jason and I breaking down some arrow reviews each night. You get arrows sent directly to your inbox with those buy and sells, and also just some educational videos and a cool group of traders. So patreon.com/Empire Algorithmic Trading. And until tomorrow, Jace, happy trading, buddy.
Happy trading, my man. We'll see you during arrows. I'm kind of excited. There's a couple of interesting ones. All right, man. We'll see you in a little bit.